Yeah, hey, welcome back to you too, AJ. So this is the second try, obviously, for recording this scenario. In the first try, the game crashed. Nevertheless, we look into it once again. First, let me put up the disclaimer. All the game keys that I have on Steam here are provided for free by DTG. I used to buy a lot of Dovetail games, Transim World DLCs before that on the Epic Game Store, but now that I am an ambassador, I got them for free on Steam. Most of them. This is why the disclaimer is here. What am I going to do now? We are trying to play a scenario on the brand new West Coast Mainline Crewe Preston, a longish one, merry-go-round. And if you are surprised that I am on at this time, then this is totally for real, because I just decided not to record this stuff alone for myself, but have it run live so that you can drop in and stumble over the stream and maybe drop your 2 cents if you feel so inclined. Merry-go-round, 1 hour 55. It is rated difficulty 3 on the class 20 rail freight disc version with the head-go discs, a pair of them we will be running. Merry-go-round refers to that operation mode where coal trains are running more or less non-stop between the coal storage facility and the power plants and delivering coals, loading while going, unloading while going, and so on. And we will see if this is actually an interesting scenario or whether it's boring to run so slow with slow running engines. Fire it up. Merry-go-round scenario. Today you're on merry-go-round MGR duty. Speak to the depot foreman to learn the specifics for the day. Those are our locomotives. This is our foreman. This is our trash. Okay, good man. These 220s are ready for a run from Parkside. Start them up and make your way to the waiting wagons, and get straight on it. So open the battery door. We now know that even with the captions of the objective markers turned off, that it is talking about this locomotive. We powered up the battery. Now we can do something with our locomotive. Sit in the driver's seat. Can pick one of the two that we have. Set the master key to on. Set the reverser to engine only so that we can start the engine. Engine start button. And here we are. Set the reverser to off again. It's always on the other end. Set the master key to off. Set the tail lights to on. Now repeat this on the second loco before coupling them together. Second loco battery compartment. It is powered. Sit in the driver's seat. Okay, it wants us to sit in this seat. Alright. Can live with that, but we have to get up now. Unisolate the AWS if you want to run it with safety systems. And the self-test works. Set the master key to on. Oops, no. Set the reverser to engine only. The reverser here is connected. If you move one, the other one moves two. Press the enter and start for 2 seconds. And it is purring like a cat. Sit in the other driver's seat. Set the lower marker lights, the one for driving forwards, to on. Set the reverser to forward. Set the handbrake to released. The handbrake is that one. Before we set the train brake to a running, we use the shortcut to turn the DST circuit breaker on. That is for all that we were able to establish not animated. And now apply some power. It is we could have waited for the brakes to release completely, then just putting it to on is enough. We are limited to 5 miles here. Points are already set in the correct position. We can see them from here. And since we have established already that the loco brake does only stop at 1, and we don't have more than 1, we can use the loco brake to stop the loco here and hold it in place. Now we gotta get off our locomotive and change the lever, change the switch. It is at the moment set to the right. We want it to be set to the left. Now we have to drive backwards again because the scenario does not want us to change seats here. Reverse, I must go into reverse, but that's alright. It's called the reverser, so can go in reverse. Now we can see the other thing. As long as we can see the buffers, we can still get closer. let's couple. Now I fixed the cabinet, even though I did not want to do any collectibles, but it was just in the way. Handbrake on the other loco. We should have known that we did not release the handbrake on the other loco yet. The pair of 20s will run empty to Parkside. Caller will need to change ends 3 times to reach your rake of wagons. Okay. Set the train brake to running. And apply some power as soon as the brake cylinders are empty enough. Again, mind that we are still in a 5 miles limit. See for how long. It's still a bit to go until we get out of the 5 miles limit. That's a lot of turning, yes. So it's always helpful if the process of changing ends is more or less in your muscle memory. It does not help that the light switches are different on the different models and versions of the Class 20 that comes with this DLC. But as long as you know what you're doing, I think it is totally manageable. Still in the 5, yes. I guess beyond that switch we can go a bit faster. Let's see. I guess as soon as the second loco is clear of that switch here. Yes, now we can go. Always check the switches when we're running across them, so that we don't cut a switch, because this can lead to a derail. Already the signal that we have to stop behind. Actually going uphill here, I guess. Yeah, you can see it here. We're totally in a dell at this point in both directions. The gradient will slow us down already. So, we can put this into emergency since we have to turn around anyway. Light configuration. Set the reverser to off. And the master key to off. Let's drop the change ends lever. And sit in the driver's seat on the other side. Maybe we use this door because there is no line next to the locomotive. The AWS change lever, so that it makes sense to unisolate the AWS. Self-test master key. Reverse it to forward. Taillights to off. And the front marker lights on. Set the train brakes running. And as soon as the brake cylinders are cleared, we can go. Signal allows us. So, we're going to the right again. There is an open signal that is for us. And then to the right once more. And perhaps behind this signal over there. So that we can turn around again. What I like in the scenarios here is that they don't just make you turn around at any odd point on the track, but they typically shunt you behind signals that then can allow you to go on. Alright, again we can put it into emergency right away so that the brake pipe has time to deplete. Change the light configuration. Oops. Reverse it to off. Local brake to off. Master key out. Change ends lever. And the other. And we jump anyway. And now we can actually go a bit. Don't need to change ends so fast again. Flying under the main line. Self-test still working. And release the brakes. Brakes are still on. Takes a bit for them to release. brake pipe pressure is building up. Actually, it's not. What's the problem? With my brake pipe? Did I not put the other one properly into shutdown? It is in shutdown. It is in shutdown. It is at 0. It is at 0. So why does the brake pipe not release? Did I not set the master key to on? Oh. That explains why the brake pipe is not filling. Good point. How did I miss that? I went through that step, but apparently I let go of it before it was properly set. And apply power to move. Now it works. Alright. This is the thing with playing scenarios in more than one take. Then you start to think that some things you already did and then you did it in the take before. Anyway, signal is sending us to up good. A line reserved to slow traffic. And leading towards London, so typically southbound on the northern lines. And now we can accelerate to 25. And hope that this time the game does not crash. We're going here to the left of the main line and then under the main line and then coming up from the opposing side back to it. Going underneath while the intermodal train on top of us is moving. And now we're going up on the opposing side and joining the line there. Can we accelerate then to faster speed? Well, in general, yes, but it does not look like it makes a lot of sense to do so. Because we have to branch off to the Parkside Colliery. to pick up our cars. And anyway, we got a green light for the main line. And to not block the main line for too long. We should accelerate then. What does it say here? 20 on the diverging. So I hope no. But you can see it does not make sense. I have to go across and switch so soon that there is no big point in accelerating. Did you hear the dog barking in the tunnel? Or under the bridge? So where is this limit coming from here? I can't see it, is not announced. But it must mean that we're going across a switch somewhere. Using the train brake, because the independent straight loco brake will only brake the first loco of the pair, not the second one. Is it? Oh, it's even 20. Ooh, gee. And here it is. It's actually a full-blown line speed reduction. At this point. Probably never went on the up goods line here. Do we need to roll with 20 here for the whole bit? Looks like it. Even the cows think this is slow. They're quite pretty, the cows, yes, they are. And there are many, many, many of them. So, approaching a signal, now only from behind. And what I thought is the AWS magnet is actually some pieces of replacement track lying in the middle. Here it goes to 30 and then to 50. Before we do some branching off, as it seems. don't really know why we are so slow here. Now we're actually getting a signal. Double yellow. Beep. If you're driving with muscle memory and have the buttons for the vigilance and for the AWS separated, then mind that on the class 20, the button that is usually used for, or the keybind that is typically used for the vigilance, is here used for the AWS. Overtaken by a 47 if I saw it correctly, but it can also be a 86 or 87. Now we are accelerating to 30 as soon as the whole train is passed. What does not take so super long since we're only 2 class 20s. Now we're rolling with 30. I still have 2.3 miles to go. We are under the preliminary caution of a double yellow. So with those speeds we don't need to slow down for the double yellow. But keep it in mind anyway. Next signal is single yellow. So we are running under caution now. Fair for the next one to be red. It's not such a big deal when we're running only with 30. But still. Without the proper track knowledge and route knowledge, you never know how fast the next signal can be there. Signals ahead, and it is our red actually. Now it cleared, most probably approach controlled. The passenger train that overtook us now has to wait for us. We're going on the switch. Let's check how fast we can go on the switch. Looks like 15. General limit is dropping to 50, but It does not tell how fast we can go on the switch. Yeah. Seems to be a 47 that overtook us. I would be so pissed in case of the driver of this 47 if I'd have to wait for a pair of 20s crossing my path. Approaching a dead section is totally not a problem for us on our diesel-only locomotive. I guess we're getting assigned for the branching of 15. '87 coming from the opposite direction. They don't have to wait for us. And we are going into the line towards the Parkside Colliery. We hit a magnet for a yellow signal. Somehow you shutting off that annoying sound is satisfying as heck. Yes. This is a great incentive for drivers to actually shut off that sound. Okay, 20 actually increased from the 15 to 20, but soon it will be 15 again after a short interval of a higher speed even. So we're not going to the left, we're going to the right. Here is the neutral section. At least that's what they tell us. Yes, and here are the APC inductors that actually corner the neutral section and automatically switch off the train and on again, so that the driver does not really need to do anything when navigating those neutral sections. At least on modern trains. On older trains it might be different, and here is a red light. But the red light has the position light with it, the white dots that allow us to pass it as a shunting formation. It's still 20. Then even further. And I hope it won't break the game again, but now let's have a look at the map. So this is the main line that we came. And then we branched off here with 15, and we branched at this junction. Now we're coming in on that one. We're stopping here, and then we're reversing to pick up this rake of cars at the Parkside Colliery, as it seems. Route that the game will not break. Luckily, so far it did not. Now that we're going in the siding, we need to slow down to 15 again. So we can go for a bit longer, but we can't. If you see grass on the tracks, then you're typically in a siding that does not get too much use, and where you can't go that fast. Yes, so we're chopping away on our Class 20 choppers. Good. Now we're changing ends again. Light configuration. Shut down. Reverser to off. Throttle is off anyway. Master key. Change end lever. And go to the other end. Boom. Master key. Reverser. Crane brake to running. We have a signal that sends us to SDG, what might be siding. Brake pipe is filling. Brake cylinders are releasing. And we can go, is it 15? Oh no, 10. We can go up a certain point. So, you can see this is where we came in from the left. Now we have to go to the right. And pick up the cars. The gate is open, luckily. The derail is switched properly as well, so that we don't go into this short track with the buffer stop at the end. It's not actually a derail, but it serves to protect the siding from incoming vehicles. Now I go into the right and we can already see our cars. Sitting there, and behind them there is the tipple where they got the coal in, and they are already loaded. What is nice, so we don't have to load them, at least not at the beginning of the scenario. We probably have to load them later. Okay, someone wants to cross this path here with their lorry. They are warned. see what we need to press against. So pressed our locomotive against the cars so that we can couple properly without having to pull the locos or the cars by hand for the last bit. Actually, those buffers should be touching, but they are touching on the other end on one side because they are a bit tilted. Now that we are coupled, we switch off the marker lights because we don't need them. We shut down the brake. Release the loco brake. Reverse it to off. Master key to off. Change end lever to off. The handbrake to released on the cars. That is something new. It's rare that we have this on a parked rake of cars. Where is the handbrake on those cars? Put on the opposite side. Maybe it looks a bit like it. 4 yards. Might be on the opposite side. Any chance to climb under here? I'm afraid not. And we go around our locomotives. Just a quick check that we are actually coupled on air brakes. Yes, those are hoses for the air brakes. Now let's find, here. This is, or usually this is the lever for the handbrake. Let's see if the others are released already. Yes, it was only the first car that had the handbrake applied. Now it is released. You can take those cars for a ride. We probably would do a brake test in this setup after coupling. Or the loaded formation needs to be taken to Warrington while you use a class 08 to pilot you around the curve. Oh, we're going to ride a Gronk as well. Interesting. Change ends lever. Satisfying cancellation. Master key to forward. Taillights to front marker lights. Loco brake to holders until the brake pipe is filled. You can see that filling the brake pipe now takes much longer because our brake pipe is much longer now. Do we have anything on the other end? No, the other end is actually marked with this lamp, so no locomotives at the other end. There's no point releasing the loco brake as long as the brake pipe is still filling. We can check whether our switches are properly set, so it looks like we're going out in that direction. via Earlstown. Because they told us we have to take it to Warrington, right? So we're going to the south. So firing a bit in the releasing brake so that we don't roll backwards. And now let's see how far the releasing of the brakes on the cars already progressed. We don't have an end of train device like on the American freight trains that tells us the brake pressure on the brake pipe pressure at the rear end, so we would just have to guess more or less. Or just wait preemptively a couple of minutes. That is also a thing that you can do. They screech a bit, so probably they are not released entirely. So to minimize stress and wear and tear, we should actually just wait a bit for the brakes to release before we try starting the train. Now we are going a bit too fast because there is only 10 and not 15. Now we can use it to get a feel for the brakes, especially those air brakes with these loaded hoppers and the class 20. Takes a lot to get used to. Actually, we did not get docked for running the speed limit. For whatever reason. As soon as those cars are around the corner at the back, we will probably be able to accelerate to 15 at any rate. Do we have a green somewhere? No, we actually still have a red. So this signal here actually does not allow us to go out. The signal does not want us to let go. So let's see if we can actually stop this train in front of that signal. And you can see it takes a lot of effort. Hehehe. Yeah, just like this. So with the class 20s and 1500 tons of coals, you need to start braking early and with a lot of dedication. Nicely done, Sir Digby, thank you so much. But it was by the skin of my teeth, I guess. There's this pacer sitting here. Probably we have to wait for him to do his job and leave. Otherwise we cannot go across this. Well, we're actually going in the same direction, right? He's leaving from Newton Le Willows. Or Lee Willows. Our signal is still red. It will take forever to release the brakes because I had to apply them so hard. So I have no idea what the brake pipe status is here at the end, at the dangling end. When we finally get a green. At front, the brake pipe is filled nicely, but at the end... Watch is like 1 hour out of the 155. It tells you this scenario is long. It's just sitting here waiting for the signal change. And now it changed, look. Let's see if we can actually start the train again. Yes. Less hard than I expected it to be. And those 155 is typically like playing it like AI. Just whoosh, 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 whoosh. No time for looking around, no time for cross-checking, no time for double-checking, no time for looking out of the window, making sure that everything is okay, no time for looking for the lever of the handbrake. Guys, just imagine you're standing on the platform and a coal train like this is passing, losing half of its coal dust on the way. I wonder why they are not putting up their umbrellas. Can I go a bit faster then? After that, what, 20, yes. That 47 is waiting there. Putting itself in a cloud of diesel smoke. And I should be able to go 20 now, should I not? Yes, I am on the main track. Oh, this is not a 47. This is our brother, our sister train with 2 class 20s and empty hoppers. They are returning from the power plant. And AJ wants a drive-by. I hope nothing bad happens at the front of the train while the train is driving by. Yeah, this is actually worth it. So I did not see the speed signs. Oh, I'm just approaching 20 limit, but at the moment we could go 60. But we have to branch off already. And having experienced how smoothly the train actually slows down, this is not a train for fast acceleration and slowing down. Are these coal trains in operation still in real life? I don't think that they are still in operation like this. DLC is set in the 80s, and in the 80s they definitely were in operation. What I actually find funny is that the Class 20s switched from carrying around coals to carrying around nuclear containers, nuclear flasks. And then ending up not carrying around anything anymore. So we're still to 20, but we might actually be allowed to go a bit faster now that the last car is beyond the 70 marker here. Yeah. There's a 50 coming up, but for the 5 miles we can actually accelerate a bit. Not too fast though, because we are still under a preliminary caution here, double yellow. Just as fast as this car is. It's funny. And now the coal is pushing us down the hill. And at the neutral section it does not face us at all. Now we are crossing the junction and are limited to 50 miles per hour for it. Going across this crossover with 50 and branching off even more with 50. It's this goods line as it seems. Now can we accelerate a bit more? We could go back to 60. What is the maximum speed for those locomotives and be prepared to slow down to 25 again later. Here's the 60. Double yellow it is. Let's see how far we still have until we have to slow down, or we still can go 2 miles. But we need 1 mile, I think, to slow down to first 30 and then 15. Yeah. Especially since the initial application does not do a lot of this. And AJ wants to have a counter for every time I acknowledge the AWS alarm. So let's see how this train is slowing down with 50% brakes on. Yeah, quite pretty actually. This would make us slow down soon enough. Let's go back to 30%. Well, we have 2 more trains in our window. One overtaking, one coming from the opposite direction. It actually did not do a lot reducing. Are those single release brakes? Maybe they are. This behavior looks like single release. Does it not? Got to ask Paul if they are actually single release. Now it is softening up a bit. One. You're counting. Is this add-on only for Transform World 6? Steam suggests so. I think so. I think the new add-ons only work with the latest incarnation of the game. I've never tried whether the new DLCs work under the older versions of the game. And if they do, there is no guarantee. But I don't think, yeah, I think it is only for Transform World 6. The older DLCs are supposed to work under Transform World 6, but the newest are not supposed to work under older versions of the game. So, coming into Warrington with its big blue house. Didn't know that in the British Rail Blue era even the houses were blue. Did we already get into? No, we're still far away. So this time, once bitten, twice shy. I slowed down very early. It's a lot of barking underneath the bridges. Okay. Now we're branching off. This is probably where the limit to 30 starts. Every time the game twitches like this, I am afraid it will just crash again. Here's the 30 that was announced and that I braked for half an hour ago. And soonish we will encounter a 15. But you can see it with the first application, we're not really losing a lot of speed. It takes forever for the brake pipe pressure reduction to propagate to the end of the train and for the brakes to apply. And then it takes forever to release again. You can help a bit with the overcharging. So now we're going to the left. Is this where the 15 starts? Not yet. But we're prepared. Still not. Going straight. Still have to go 1 mile. Look how busy the yard is and how many static trains are sitting there. that the 15 here? Yeah, now we are in the 15. I did not see a sign, but I might have missed it because of the external shots of the yard. I want to travel this line that is going underneath the yard at one time. So does it make sense to accelerate here? No, especially since we're still in the 15, and even when we get out, we're in the 15 is almost at once again. Now we get a magnet. Oh no, I touched the wrong button. The signal is red, but it has the position light on, so we don't need to panic and stop the train. We can just roll past it. But on side, because it's always possible that the track is occupied. We're going into the siding. Crossing this beautiful bridge. This guy is taking a break. It's probably the milkman. So let's see how much it takes to stop this train here on the siding. I can see the Gronk waiting for us already, I think. So if at 250 yards at 10 miles per hour I apply my initial application, will this be enough to slow down the train for a stop, or even too much? Gotta feel it is even too much. Wonder what all those installations are for. So again with 130. No, it's too much, it's too much. It will stall the train prematurely. wonder what we're actually going to do with the Gronk. Shut down this cap and make your way across to the 08. This will be used for drag you around the curve to avoid having to run around twice. Aha. Interesting. We're shutting down, that means we're also applying emergency brakes. Taillights to on, they want to set the train brake to neutral shutdown. Zero, reverse it to off. Master key. Sit in the driver's seat. Once more. The DST off too. And now they want us to go to the Gronk. Is there any way to pass this better than just walking across? I don't see a way of safety here. So the Gronk is already running. The battery is already turned on. Don't have any safety installations here, right? Set the reverser to forward. Master key switch is already on. So the beautiful Gronk that comes in a new version with this DLC. Set the train brake to release. For that, loco brake, train brake to release. Apply throttle to move. What is our job? Can't see it yet. How fast are we allowed to go? 15. Alright. And let's just try. Not sure this is supposed to happen. Try and restart the loco. What did happen then? Oh no. Now we have to restart. Master key switch. Now first the reverser to off. Then the master key switch to off first. And then start for 2 seconds. Here it comes. It looks like the 09 is broken. Return to your locos. Those run rounds will be needed after all. So nothing with the Gronk. Can we leave it in full service, this Gronk? Engine only, reverse it to off. Well, Gronk, thank you so much for trying. We'll have to do it anyway, on our own. We uncouple. When we're uncoupling, are we setting the handbrake on the first car? Or are we not setting the handbrake on the first car? Why is this not the thing to do? Probably we're not. But we're setting the tail lights on our rear locomotive. And more runarounds. Where's the counter? Set the master key to 1. Set the reverse to forward. Tail lights to off. Markers to on. Train brake to running. And now we have to fill the whole brake pipe again. But not the whole brake pipe for the whole train, but only for our pair. What is a lot easier. 15. And our truck. Oh, it actually ends here. It's a head shunt. Then we head shunt into this position. And we only need to get past this switch because we probably will go into that line here. Good. Apply power to move. And switching again. Not this switch that we're sitting on, but this switch needs to be set. Oh, Akura, hi mates, moin, no notification on the DC? No, only on Twitch. It is not an official stream, so to say. You're looking into my workshop. I'm trying to play this scenario and record it. And everyone has the opportunity to drop in and add their 2 cents. So what we are trying to do is to go this way and along our train. Reverse it to forward. Tail lights to marker lights. Train brake to running. Wait for the brake pipe to fill. Locomotive brake. And off we go. Is it slower here? No, it is 15. Even on the head shunt. So, and now we're going along our train to be able to pull it from that direction and then go here to this power plant all the way. We came from the north and now we're pulling it that way over. And I'm not entirely sure what the Gronk should have done with us. Maybe it should have pulled the whole train into a different siding so that we would not have needed to change ends twice. Look on the top left how the express is passing. Signal is open. Obviously we have to go across the switch, otherwise we couldn't go back to the other end of our train. And now we're going in the opposite direction, and obviously we're going backwards here. It wants to reverse us to our train. Set the train brake to running. Power to move. Did they switch the switch for us that we can actually go there? Yes, it's an automatic switch. We can. Yeah, again, I hate going backwards with this locomotive. We don't even have a shadow that tells us how far we can still go. So we more or less need to go by what we can feel. And here. As long as we are still moving, we are not on them. Now I think I heard them. So let's see if we can couple. Yeah. That worked. Okay. Oh yeah, the taillights on the other end. They're still in full service. It looked like it only coupled half. Oh, it actually looks good, doesn't it? Oh, we have the brake pipe connected, chain link connected. We will see if they stay in place. Ah, right. The dangling cable stole my attention. Ah, this... That one with the yellow head. We don't need that for the air brakes of that kind here. Right? That will be probably the connector for a brake system that has a feeder line running along the train. Because probably the vacuum braking bit is this thick rope. But if the wrap one is attached to those cars that only have one brake pipe, it should be enough. So, a release. Brake pipe is filling. It will take a while now because we are filling the whole train again. When uncoupling, we had to drain the brake pipe completely so that the hoppers with the coals do not run away on their own. Takes a bit until this is back to 70, and well, had the gronk worked, then this would have speeded up the process significantly. So now the brake pipe is full. We can try whether we can start this train. Not too much power in one go so that we don't break the couplers. In case a brake did not release, signal is good. And let's see in what siding they are sending us. Just over there. And around the corner, see? And then we have to run around once more to go over there to the power plant. And this is apparently the part that the gronk would have done for us. This movement around the corner. We can stay at 15, this doesn't make any sense to go much faster. Kara's streaming, I can hear her, yeah. She's probably dreaming of our walk this morning. Now to the right. Apparently we're running downhill, because even with braking a lot, we're still gaining speed. Let's see if we can see, yeah. This whoop, you could totally feel it. But that means at the same time now we can release the brakes again, otherwise we will stall the train. Now being back in the level ground. There's another Gronk. This one we could have taken and used. Look at those interesting signals. High standing shunting signals. You don't see that too often. So I wonder how far this scenario will actually take us. I'm quite sure that we will have to unload the coal at the power plant. But then it will be interesting if we have to go back to the colliery and refill our hoppers and go for the next merry-go-round. And do this all day. Look where we ended up. At the Latchford sidings. That's a nice view. Oh, 8s, 20s, 47s. We're going to the right. This is the only signal that is open. Look at all the old buses that they collected there. While braking those trains, you definitely need to practice to get a feel for it. A second run around will be needed here, and then you can be on your way to the power station. Alright, that means we have to uncouple. Moment. Let's see if we are safe here. If we fasten the handbrake here and we couple to the other end, then we would have to trudge back to the train to release it. So I guess this is what the scenario does not want to put on us. I like that the scenario insists that we turn on our taillights. And now we're probably going into the head shunt. Exactly. Which is set. We can now release. Brake probe is filling quickly because... Oops. Because we are only our pair of 20s. Train is sitting here, we are running around to pick them up from the other side again, so that we can go headfirst into the power plant and the facility where we can drop our coal on the go. And the merry-go-round is also applicable to what we're doing with our class 20 pair. We're going around our coal hoppers quite often today. Reminding myself to use the train brake to stop our pair. Blubble blubble blub. Okay, now we have to set the route before we can go around again. Those switch controllers here this time they work properly. Counter. Dim 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 dim. Apply some power and move. Okay, I did it the wrong way around about, because it's actually taking some time to fill the brake pipe. And again, one more run around. So, behind the signal, so that we can close in on our train again. This is for us, allowing us to pass. Without conflicting on the main line, or the through line here at any rate. and since the upper disc was turned, we are staying on the left track here and I'm not going across the crossover. Behind the signal, that means we're going on the bridge. Because here on the left there is the signal that they were talking about, I guess. Yes. And we're changing once. No, we're not changing. I put it into emergency prematurely because we are reversing again. We are reversing here. The signal allows us to reverse. That is good. Unfortunately, I cannot really see. Why didn't they put those two engines to the two ends of the whole train, I wonder? So, no driving around. Then you need two drivers actually, because they cannot communicate across the whole length of the train. So if you want to use them in multiple traction, have one driver drive both engines. It only works if they are connected together directly. But you're right, there are actually trains where you have two pairs. So one pair on either end, but equals to 4 Class 20 locomotives altogether. Now I can actually not see anything now. Totally no problem. It is a really valid thought. Or by radio, can't you connect them by radio instead of wires? Not those two locomotives, but obviously there are locomotives now, especially in America, they can be connected by radio so that they can distribute their power either by a cable running along the train or by radio communication. The only radio communication that will work here is with a second driver that communicates by radio with the driver on the first locomotive. So that is more or less banking. Not spanking, banking. And this has been done since steam days. Without radio then, but with whistle signals. Oops. Now we are here. And we got bounced back by the buffers. So the smooth coupling is the thing that gets always worse with the length of the scenario and driver getting tired and all that stuff. So we need full service. We need the throttle off, engine only. So we're not climbing. Here we can actually climb under and do the coupling from inside, how it would be done usually. And you can see there are a lot of cables that are not connected. Here the fat one for the vacuum brakes, and I think the... don't even know what the white one here is. The taillights to off. That will be those taillights here. Okay, and now we can go. We even have a proper signal for position 1. That means we're staying on the left track most probably and go through the whole yard. Forward. Frame brake running. We have to fill the whole consist again. Apply power to move. Again, what did we do? We ran around here. So first we ran around. Originally we came from the north. We ran around here, pulled our train here around the corner, ran around again, and now we are going east-west wise here. And here we can then drop our coal. We have to do the way around, and here is the facility where we can drop the coal. We will stop in front of it, and then we will probably use the slow driving control, the slow speed control, to throw our coal in the bin. So let's see that we can get this thing started without breaking any couplers. Fiddler's Ferry Power Station, Line C, stop board. Alright. Now we're getting a bit more speed then. 20 and then 40, okay. Of course we have to pull our train out of the siding. And the Gronk actually would have been the loco on the other end. Not permanently fixed there, but for this one movement that we needed 2 runarounds for now. AJ Black says, it's so funny, I keep thinking you're referring to German steamer Gronk. Well, I don't know whether he named himself after this locomotive. The locomotive has been around for longer, I dare say. Are you sure? I don't know. I have no idea how old they are, but I think this is pretty much a safe guess. Oh look, there is an animated and not only animated. Let's see if the photo mode breaks the game. No, luckily not. A signal box with collectibles and a radio and a plan for how to operate it. An old token machine. Or I don't know if it's a token machine or a machine where you can announce the trains along the wire. Beautiful. Beautiful. I think it's hard to get to the level of Just Trains DLCs. So, can we go 20 already? I think so. No! Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. No, I thought the game would crash. And look how this train pushes you down the smallest of descents. And how on this branch line here we're still getting the semaphore signals. Caution signal is off, main signal is off, that means we can go through. The whole protected area. How beautiful this looks, even from the cab. They are so good in capturing this look and feel of this industrial England of the time. So 3.5 miles to the Fiddler's Ferry power station, but we still have to run around, so it's actually a lot further than those 3.5 miles. Well, if you want to find a way, another empty train with the hoppers, if you want to get the feel how the gradient can influence a heavy train, then this is a great scenario for that. You see how the signal changed while the train was passing. Ours is still green. The next blue house. It really gives the 80s UK vibe, right? Totally. Not that I've been to the UK much in the 80s. I think the first time that I visited the UK was in the early 90s, but at least the vibe that you imagine it to be, right? Can we go a bit faster here? No, not yet, but soon we can speed up to 40 even. So we can see the cooling towers of our power plant. That means we're actually getting closer. And I think we can accelerate to 40 now. Along the canal. Just have to make sure that we don't start slowing down to 15. Too late. That's actually not a really long distance that we can go a bit faster. Well, why shouldn't we try? No idea whether we will get a warning before the 15 limit kicks in again. What is that? Is the whistle board or already the 15? No, it's not the 15 yet. It's probably a whistle board. Or something else. Level crossing. That was the whistle for probably. Caution signal is off. That is nice, so we don't need to stop at the next one. Another whistle. Probably for that crossing here. And then at some point we have to be back to 15. So, you can see the power plant to the right and we're going in a big circle around it. so that we come to the coal unloading facility from the north, and we can leave it again to the south and go back and get more coal, because all the coal that we carry there, they just burn it. Main signal is green too. Did I miss a whistle board? Maybe. Not long until we have to be below the 15. Will there be some kind of a... Yes, we can see it here. We're crossing over here. To not go there, but to go into the loop. Those signals, if you look at them from far away, look like they are on. And they are, with the exception of the first subsidiary signal here that allows us to go on the first, no, on the second switch to the right. It should be read from top to bottom. So the first is that, and we're going straight, and the second follows now, and we're going to the left, to the right, obviously. And this is where we need to be at 15 miles. And now we're going into the track surrounding the power plant. Let's see if it is always 15 here. Yeah, I don't think that this is getting any faster here. Signal is off, allowing us to go on. Can you see how much coal they have here already? They have even the loaders on a pile of coal. And this over there is the facility where you can unload the coal. And we're going around this compound and coming back from the other side. And out of there again. And then go back for more coal. Generates really beautiful views too. Signal is at caution. So with all enjoying the scenery, gotta be careful. Then we get our train to a stop. But the scenario requires us to stop in 500 yards anyway. You can see that the counter is going up instead of down. That is due to the fact that the counter is always the distance as the crow flies, and we are going around the apex at the moment. So now it is falling again. So as much as I enjoy the externals at this point, it's always great to see the full train, the full length of the train. I have to prepare for stopping this thingy here. I hope there is no more signal between our intended stopping position and where we are at the moment. So, the Stark building is the building that we have seen from the other side before, where we can unload our coal, and there are signals in front of them that control the traffic that goes inside. There is a stopping board even before the signal. So I'm not quite sure whether this is good enough already, because you can see it requires you to telephone the signaler. Probably we have to stop there but go a bit more close to it. Now it's good enough. Okay, slowly drive the train through the unloader, emptying of coal. And now it leads us through the process of activating the slow speed control. For that we get the reverser into engine only. We set the speed control to SS2. Why SS2? For slow speed on 2 locomotives. If you only have 1 locomotive and want to go slow speed, you set it to SS1. Set the reverser to forward. At the same time we can check that we got the correct speed. Slow speed selector instead of slow speed control tells you how fast you can go, and 1 should typically limit you to half a mile. Signal is at caution, that allows us to enter this booth. So let's see if we can get this train into the brakes on the cars are still on a bit. Can hear the screeching. And now the loco will actually limit us to 0.5 miles per hour, and because you cannot see this on this speedometer anymore, we have this special speedometer that's only for the slow speed up to 3 miles per hour. And here we can see that we're actually going constantly 0.5 miles per hour into the unloading booth. That is slow. Yes. So do we have to stop again because there are again signs that require us to telephone the signaler? To be fair, this last bit here we can actually go faster than. Let's see if it works, if we can set the slow speed selector to a different speed. Yes, we can actually do it on the fly and increase the 3 miles until we actually got to the point. They want us to go via, not to stop again, even though those signs actually tell you to stop. Well, if the signaler tells us to go, then we go. And we get the speed back. Let's see if we can get the speed back like this. We should have stopped anyway just to get the speed back. You can see that the power handle, the throttle, has a slow speed position. And now we're back. So it does not break you when you set it back from a higher notch in the slow speed. But that does not matter. As soon as the hoppers enter this area here, it's getting interesting. And now we're unloading coal. The hoppers have contraptions that can actually open the bottom, and then it falls through this chute here into some sort of a receptacle or on a belt, and then it is processed on. Yeah, this obviously takes some time. So, we're unloading coal. And if I remember correctly, this thing has three compartments, so that after 1/3 the flaps on the bottom of the hoppers will close again, like this. And when they are over the next compartment, they will open again. And so you will have 3 hopper wagons unloading at the same time. So the next one should open again too? Yes. Hello there, ASR to you. Welcome to my workshop. At the same time, you can see how the coal level in the hoppers is decreasing. The last bit is just vanishing at once. And this is what we got the slow speed control for. I apparently enjoy pink station wagons here. And we have still a bit to go until our hoppers have unloaded. Is Tom somewhat at JT? I actually suspected that, yeah, but I have no idea. Maybe Ben also. And Cal. And Ral. And Triple. And Mark. Next signal is yellow, that means you can go on. You can also see this special proceed signal here. The barber shop pole indicates that we're almost done with unloading our coal. Even though there's still a bit to go. It actually looks nice from the side. A tiny little bit, yeah. Maybe the barber pole is going down. Maybe it is, but it started to be yellow, didn't it? Maybe it's actually going down as we're unloading. That would be an explanation. Yeah. So this scenario definitely is not one for the fast play. And we're getting 7 points for every unloaded hopper. I think you can have lunch while it unloads, he says. Yeah, that is true. And still someone has to sit here. Did you know that this Class 20 actually has a fuse box compartment that can be opened? Some of the fuses can actually be removed. Line protection clips. I wonder when we see those in action. Definitely going down, you're right. Is there DSD DVD in this thing? There is only this DSD pedal, and I think that it is enough to keep it pressed, so we don't actually need to do it, because actually there is no way to move it with the usual keybind. So if you stand up, I think after a while the DSD will complain. There is also no switch that turns on the DSD DVD. You can only turn it on by keybind. And I'm not entirely sure whether I turned it on again after we went back from the Gronk. But you can definitely understand how people thought it wouldn't be a great thing if the controller in the control tower can remote control the locomotives doing tasks like those. So that you do not need to bore a driver to death while they are sitting in the cab. making sure that you don't run into something with 0.5 miles per hour. And if you're already relying on a device to keep up the speed steadily, we are the Gronk, yes. How fast or rather slow are we going? We are going exactly 0.5 miles per hour, what is the prescribed speed for unloading the coal, because with this speed the hoppers unload exactly in the correct speed. I think it is faster for loading. The train has 30 hoppers and is 328.9 yards, including the 2 class 20s at the top, or at the tip. But slowly but steadily, we're getting somewhere. Those guys could help a bit. Instead of discussing football. But it's actually nice to say that the speed control really works. You might remember the slow speed control on the locomotives on Sampatch Grade, especially the GE locomotive there. The slow speed control did not really do what it was supposed to do most of the time. According to your calculations, at 0.5 miles per hour with a 329-yard train, it takes 22 minutes to drive over your own length. Alright. This sounds plausible. And at the same time doable. Given the fact that we are 2 hours and 44 minutes already in the scenario, the rating of 1 hour 55 is definitely not overdone. Yes, 1 hour 55 minutes it is rated. And I still don't know whether we have to drive back. Who did the scenario? Just Trains did the scenario. I don't know whether it was Mark or Tom or Ben or Jeffel. But I love scenarios of that kind. Actually, I'd be a bit disappointed if we don't have to go back and take more coal from the coalery. But the only thing I resented would be the game crashing now. After us being 2 hours 46 in the game, in the scenario. Nate Atius, there's on YouTube, just saw a 2 hour 30 minutes video of just this scenario. Yeah, totally possible. With me, the scenarios are always longer. Because I tend to explain things and look at things and show things and... play a bit for the gallery. Yeah, and you can only go about this scenario if you don't make any mistakes and do exactly at once what the scenario script is telling you, like click, clack, click, clack, click. There is no room for, what did I do now? What did I forget? It is this, which, or like showing, looking, checking, enjoying. Imagine if someone redeems drive-by now. Well, I would have to move the camera. Sleep by. So, but we have actually less cars full than we have already empty. Like only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that are still fully full. Fully full, fully filled. I mean, at least in real life you'd be paid well for literally just sitting in the cab doing nothing. Well, I wonder if it's actually allowed in this case to have your thermos with your coffee and your sandwiches with you. Could actually make some coffee here on the hot plate. Warm our soup. What is that hot plate for? It is actually for warming your food. And your... Imagine you're going to work with your Henkelmann. In Germany we call it a Henkelmann, what is whatever metal vessel where your wife filled your soup or your casserole or whatever you have in. And then you're driving for the whole day, even in winter when it is cold, and you can warm your soup and eat it. I know in here some high-speed train drivers eat while going at 300 kilometers per hour. I've heard stories of dispatchers having to call someone to go and wake up a freight train driver because he slept after being in the red for 1 hour at 3 AM. I totally can understand that. You have to... a Henkelmann. Akko, you don't know a Henkelmann? That is a device, and I think I know it as Koshi. Koshi, no, Koshi is not... Oh, I know. It's typically like a... yeah, a flask of... a metal flask, not round like a bottle, but a bit flat, with different compartments, typically in a way that you can put them together and with a grip on top so that you can carry it around. This is why it's called the Henkelmann. And then you can have the soup in one compartment and the meat in another compartment. A bit like those dishes that you have at the army. Kochgeschirr. in Donald Duck comics from the 1980s and so on, you could actually see that a lot. If you wanted to depict someone going to a factory, then they would typically carry a Henkelmann. ASR2, and then there's the classic freight move that you're meant to start driving at 2 p.m. for example, but because there are delays on the line, your freight trains get delayed and by 8 p.m. you're finally cleared. But in some countries that count as driving for 6 hours, which is the legal limit, so must go home. Yes. Ah, Koshi, Kochgeschirr. I understand it, yes. That one I know too from the army days. That always comes in handy if the cooking guys decide to serve you chicken halves in the field that do not fit in any of those compartments that you have on your Kochgeschirr. Yes, sometimes flat, sometimes bean-shaped. Bean-shaped so that you can fit it in your rucksack properly. And the Henkel one is the version not for the field but for the factory. Not bean-shaped typically, but straight. Rectangular. I might add a picture of a Henkelmann to the video. So, those are the last 3 that still have some coal in them. And then we're finally done unloading. And then we'll have a cookie and a sip of milk and go back to the coalery to get more coal. And then rinse and repeat. Maybe they fix their gronk in the meantime so that we don't have to do 2 runarounds at Litchfield or whatever this name was. They're all wearing the same outfit. Blue denims and pale yellow shirts, camel boots. It's actually the kind of outfit that a lot of prisoners would wear in our prisons. Blue pants and green jackets. So, did we unload our coal? Yes! And now we have to stop at the signal FF59, but for that we probably can increase the slow speed to 3 miles and we don't have to wait forever until we got there. I don't know if we can turn off the slow speed control while we are on the run. Well, yes, it works. Just to get the reverser into got to get the reverser into engine only, and then it works. Well, we have to stop at this signal. No, we don't have to stop at this signal. The signal is at least giving us a position signal. But it wants us to stop anyway. Okay, now they lead us through removing the slow speed control. So I have no idea if it is allowed to remove the slow speed control like this. Do we still have a signal? I can't see it anymore because the thing is in the way. So, this is what we did, went around, unloaded, and now we're going probably on our way again. Let's see how long the scenario still keeps us busy. What I wanted to know is what speed limit we're in, 15 and nothing else. Bye bye. Until next time. Stop at location Fiddler's Ferry Power Station Line B exit. It's also a 15 switch. And the merry-go-round would require us to go back to the colliery and get more coal. And then get back here and unload it. And then get back and get more coal. And then get here and unload it. Round and round and round and round. The signals at front don't allow us to leave this area here, so we have to stop. So, the bets are on. Does the scenario end here? The other train still moves. How the momentum still takes us forward into the 2-yard marks. Shut down the cap here and have your break. You'll be taking this back to the colliery later. Alright. Marker lights to off. So we have no lights anymore on. Tail lights to on. Ah, yeah. Okay. Neutral shutdown. Reverse it to off. Master key to off. The AWS cap changer. And here we are. 2 hours 52 and 2 seconds. And I have 1 tick for speeding. Look at that. This is when we were running down that incline, and I was almost not able to stop it. Whoop, says AJ. Beautiful scenario. I like scenarios like this. The thing with the coal unloading is a bit long, but thank you uh, for whiling away the time with me and discussing vessels for carrying your food to work. If you can't just drop by the next fast food store to grab some grub. So Digby says, well done. Thank you so much. It was nice to be able to catch an entire stream for once, as AJB. Yeah, it's a new thing. Good game, Akura. Exactly, it wasn't intended to be as a stream as such. It is an open workshop. When I have time, maybe I do this more often on Saturday mornings or times like this, just playing scenarios or services that I did not play before, see where it goes. And we can discuss things. So if you stumble in or happen to be there, feel free to throw in and to drop in your 2 cents. Much appreciated. It is recorded anyway, and it will end up on my YouTube channel too. But it is not intended to be as a spectacular stream as such. So if no one comes and joins and talks to me, it's as well. Thanks for the streams, says AJ. Thank you so much for staying with me for the whole time. And yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.